Hi, Beth here, and I'm going to show you how to make this fun tote. It's so fast to put together and a great way to feature your favorite fabrics. We've simplified this bag a little bit just to make it go together a little bit quicker, and we are using just one print for the exterior of the bag, and that's a 15-inch square, so we don't have to piece the exterior of the bag. And we're using these cute fabrics from the Mel's Diner collection for Northcott. Next, we pressed this fusible interfacing onto the back side of our roller skate print, and that will be the front and back of the bag. Next, we're assembling the pocket. So we'll take our two 6-inch squares and put those right sides together, and we're going to sew a 1/4 inch all the way around those, leaving a 3-inch opening for turning. And you'll want to leave that on the center of one of the sides, not on the very edge. Now this machine has a nice feature which is great for this. It's just an auto locking feature. So it will automatically take some locking stitches at the beginning of our seam. If you don't have that, a back stitch would be good too. As you come to the last edge, be sure to leave that opening for turning, and you'll also want to back stitch so that doesn't come undone when you turn it inside out. You want to clip the corners at an angle to reduce bulk and create a nice corner. Now we'll turn it right side out. And you can use a pencil to poke out those corners with the eraser end. Once you've pressed that pocket, it's time to align it on the bag front. So I like to just go ahead and fold it in half and give a little finger press. You can even put a little pin there just to mark the center. And you can do the same thing with the pocket. So we're lining the pocket up 2 3/4 inches from the top of the bag. And then we can pin that in place. Now we'll top stitch a 1/4 inch around 3 sides, and we do have the opening on the bottom, so that will get closed up as we top stitch. The nice thing about this 1/4 inch foot with the guide is you can line it right up with the edge of the pocket and get a really nice consistent stitch. Next, we'll make the handles. So take your handle piece and take it over to your ironing board, and we'll press in half with wrong sides together. Then open it back up and then press both sides in toward the center. Then you'll fold that one more time on the original crease. So that gives us a really nice sturdy handle, and that's going to be 4 layers of fabric thick. Then we'll take it to our sewing machine and top stitch along both long edges to finish that handle off. Now we'll take our handles and we will pin them to the bag front and the bag back. We've measured in 3.5 inches from each side and pinned the handles in place. Just be sure not to twist those when you are pinning those on. So we've set our machine to a stitch length of 4 for basting. That just is a longer stitch, and we'll tack that in place while we work on the rest of the bag. Once you've attached the handles, we will sew the bag front to the bag back. So we'll put right sides together and line up all the edges, and then we're going to sew just around the sides and bottom, leaving the top open. So once you've sewn that together, you can see your bag is starting to somewhat take shape, but we need to add depth by boxing the corner. So what you're going to do is line up the side seam with the bottom seam. So if you put your hand inside and then pull the back and the front away from each other, and you're going to kind of feel and just line those 2 seams up. So you've got a triangle shape here, and this is going to give us that boxed corner. So we'll take our ruler and we're going to measure from the point down 1.5 inches. I'm just going to put a little mark there. And then we'll draw the line across the whole bag, and that should be about 3 inches wide. So now we'll sew on that drawn line. So now that you've sewn both of those corners, we can go ahead and trim off the excess, leaving a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So now we'll basically do the same thing with the lining pieces. We'll put those together, right sides together. We'll sew the sides and bottom, and then box those corners. As you sew the lining, leave a 5-inch opening in the bottom for turning. Once you've finished sewing your lining and boxing the corner, leave that turned wrong side out, and you're going to insert your bag, which we've turned right side out, into the lining piece. You'll match up the side seams and just kind of nest those together and then pin. Do that on the other side. Again, kind of nesting those seams. And then you can pin all the way around the top of the bag. And don't forget to tuck your handles inside. So when you're sewing this bag, if you want a little more room to maneuver, you can pull your little accessory case off, and then you can use the free arm. That way you can get the whole bag around the machine and you won't have as much maneuvering to do. So now we're at the fun part. We can turn the bag right side out through the hole in the lining. So you can kind of work it all the way out, and then you can just slip stitch the opening in the lining closed and tuck it into your bag. To finish the bag, we'll top stitch all the way around with a 1/4 inch, and then we'll be ready to go. The top stitching adds a really nice finished look and also helps reinforce those handles. Now you're ready to pop your cell phone in the front pocket and take it on the go.